Hi, my name is Nanna Aida Svendsen and it's the middle of April 2022 and Yvonne of the publishing house Sillians Mossa has asked me to read a poem for April, a request with which I am happy to comply. Spring is coming to the land now, and the first daffodils are finally showing their cheery faces in the garden. Not that winter has entirely relinquished its hold. There's frequently a frost of a morning, and you can see that some of the little flowers are sort of huddling into themselves, waiting for the warmth to return so that they can blossom once more. And so it is still a threshold time, a between the worlds time, and not just in the garden, on the planet, you could say. It is a time rife through with heaven and hell on this earth. There is great beauty to be found, but there is also tremendous suffering and pain, and the war in the Ukraine continues, and the imminent threat of something like that continues to dog the people of this planet. It's rough, it's rough. Many people are suffering, and empathetic beings that we are, we feel that, we know that. And yet, at the same time, I do feel there is also a requirement, at least I feel so for myself, to not entirely be defined by that, but also to remember the beauty that can be found here, to find that sense of encouragement and belonging with life and the grace of it. And I find increasingly these days, and I don't know if this resonates with you, you can see, that I seem to need to be able to hold both and at the same time. The fact that the magnolia is just beginning to blossom in the garden, it's so beautiful. And the fact that people are being fucking blown up, sorry, excuse my language, in their homes. And to somehow be able to stay present with both those realities, hold them at the same time, seems to be part of the work. At least it is for me, and part of a way of easing senses of conflict inside, to just allow what is to be there. And when I think of the magnolia, I think of, on the one hand, how fragile it is. It does not like the frost. And yet also how hardy. And it seems to me that those two qualities are also what are being required of us, or how we find ourselves now. On the one hand, extremely vulnerable to life, and yet on the other hand, needing also to be strong in our connectedness to our wisdom, our compassion, our hearts. And I felt like writing a poem that in its own sweet way says something about this. It's called Cranes, and I mean the cranes, the bird. And it was inspired by seeing a flock of them flying overhead just the other day. And so what to do at such a sight but write a poem. And so this is the poem of the season, because the cranes have returned to Sweden. It's called Cranes. Cranes fly overhead in formation. Guided by some inner compass, they are heading from their winter home in Spain to their summer home in Sweden. Along the way, thousands upon thousands of them will settle by a lake in the heart of the land. There they will dance and delight a partner with whom to fly further north to breed and rear their young. Life on the move, ancient rhythms and wisdoms unfolding despite all the agony and chaos of these times. I draw comfort from this and find I too need to follow my inner compass and dance, at least for a moment, a new season, hopefully imbued with kindliness, love, and light into being.